Welcome to Simply Debbie Sue's Southern Whispers. Step into a world where front porches hold secrets, faith carries folks through the hardest days, and the mountains whisper stories only the heart can hear. I invite you into tender moments, gentle humor, and the kind of Southern warmth that feels just like home. Welcome in, friends, to Southern Whispers. I'm glad you're here with me today. So let's get into the introduction of this story. In Old Mill Crossing, time didn't march in neat little squares on a calendar. It moseyed. It wandered. It hitched a ride on whatever story folks were telling that week. Around here, people remembered life by events. The year the possum got loose in the choir loft, and Sister Myrtle fainted clean into the alto section. The summer Pastor Nate's butter sculpture of Noah's Ark melted mid-sermon. And most famously, the Sunday Billy Ray Hollis got baptized in his boots. This week's story is called Billy Ray's Baptism. Billy Ray Hollis had a reputation longer than the railroad tracks that cut through the valley. He could fix a carburetor with duct tape and a prayer, charm a snake out of a woodpile, and stir up trouble faster than a June thunderstorm rolling over the ridge. He spent most of his life dodging church pews like they were bear traps and quoting scripture the way other folks told jokes. "Judge not, lest you be judged," he'd say, usually right after doing something that absolutely needed judging. But one spring morning, something shifted. Maybe it was the way the dogwoods were blooming like little white hallelujahs. Maybe it was the hymn drifting out of the Morning Star Chapel as he passed by. Or maybe, as Bertie from the diner insisted, the Lord finally got tired of waiting on him. Whatever it was, Billy Ray walked into church that Sunday looking like a man who'd been chased there by angels or consequences. Pastor Nate nearly dropped his Bible. Billy Ray slid into the back pew, boots muddy, hair wild, smelling faintly of gasoline and redemption. Folks whispered. Sister Myrtle fanned herself dramatically, but Billy Ray didn't notice. He just stared straight ahead, jaws set, eyes soft in a way nobody had seen before. When the invitation hymn started, "Just as I am," Billy Ray stood up so fast the pew creaked. He marched right down the aisle, boots thudding like a drumline. "Pastor," he said, voice steady, "I reckon it's time." Pastor Nate blinked. "Time for what, son?" "For me to quit running." The congregation gasped like they'd rehearsed it. Before anyone could talk him out of it, Billy Ray headed straight for the baptismal creek behind the church. Folks scrambled after him, some out of curiosity, some out of shock, and a few out of pure Southern nosiness. The water was cold enough to make a grown man rethink eternity, but Billy Ray waded in without hesitation, boots and all. Pastor Nate followed, robes floating like a startled duck. "Billy Ray," the pastor said gently, "you can take your boots off if you want." Billy Ray shook his head. "No, sir, I came to the Lord just as I am, boots included." And with that, Pastor Nate lowered him into the icy water. When Billy Ray came up, he let out a holler that echoed off the mountains, half shock, half joy, all heart. The congregation clapped. Sister Myrtle cried, and someone swore they saw a rainbow even though the sky was clear. From that day on, Billy Ray wasn't perfect, not by a long shot, but he was changed. He still fixed things with duct tape, still told stories bigger than the truth, and still stirred up trouble now and then. But he also showed up early to help set out hymnals, carried groceries for widows, and prayed with a sincerity that made folks believe God listened a little closer when Billy Ray talked. And every Sunday without fail, he wore the same boots, still water-stained, still muddy around the edges, as a reminder of the day he quit running. So the reflection of this week's story is, some folks come to faith quiet as a whisper. Others come crashing in like a summer storm. Billy Ray was the storm kind. Loud, messy, unforgettable. But grace doesn't mind the noise. It meets us in the middle of our chaos, our stubbornness, our muddy-booted wandering. Old Mill Crossing never forgot the day Billy Ray stepped into that creek. Not because it was funny, although it was, but because it reminded everyone that God doesn't wait for us to clean up first. He just waits for us to come, boots and all. I hope you enjoyed that story this week. Come back next week for another one. May these stories that I've written wrap around you like a well-loved quilt. May they remind you that God is near, hope is steady, and joy often comes softly, like a whisper on a southern breeze.